I mean, luckily she's been listening to Joe Rogan for years at this point. So she knows how to do jujitsu. She has a gun. She'll be prepared, physically prepared to fight her bully. Welcome back to Ben the Menace. We haven't done a solo episode in a while. This is a nice opportunity for me to be alone with you, for me to be brutally honest, for me to like do what I normally do. Like it gets a little quiet, things get a little dark, things get a little weird. We've been having a lot of fun. That's going to end today. We've been having porn stars on, everybody's giggling. There's like a nervous energy. The guy Calvin who helps out with producing and asks the guy who stumbles through dating questions all the time. He's usually here and he's like, "Oh, it's a porn star." Oh, he's like, he walked one of them. He showed one of the porn stars out of the building the other day, and he goes, "This girl had no idea who he was. He did not need to show her out. It was very easy for her to exit the building on her own." And after she leaves, he goes, "I probably could have got her number." It's like, no, you couldn't have. You couldn't have got her number. He's like, it was like this. It was close. There was a second there where I could have asked. And I go, you know what would have happened if you had asked there? She would have been like, "What'd you say?" It's just a nameless, faceless guy to her who goes, "Here's how you exit. And also, would you like to fuck sometime?" And then she goes, "Wait, what?" So he's not here. Again, it's like we're back to full-blown Ben the Menace mode. We're all the way in. And there's a lot of stuff. I've been avoiding it. I've been bringing up the aspects of my life on these interview podcasts, of course, as people do. They talk about their own lives. But I haven't really been getting into a lot of detail. Because to be brutally honest with you, I'm terrified. My life is. I'm at the juncture of a comedy, of like a guy who's not making money but pursuing a career in stand-up comedy. Of that pursuit, that career, where most reasonable people would go, "Oh, I'm done with comedy. What am I doing? Why would I pursue this anymore?" I'm getting married this weekend, and we don't have a lot of cash, so that's why I'm so casual about this. I'm getting married to my girlfriend on Saturday, and I think there's going to be one guy watching, just for legal purposes. If there was a way for me and her to just get married in our apartment for free, we would do that. But the state of California doesn't let you do that. So we're going to the place, this temple where she kind of meditates. And, as California law states, someone who could remember the wedding has to watch it. That's what California law is. It's not someone who will remember it or who wants to remember it or who wants to be there. Could be a person against their will. But legally, they have to sign a document, and they have to be someone who's cognizant enough that they could remember that it happened. I would love to make like a longitudinal documentary where I interview witnesses at small weddings and see if they remember the wedding. Because I bet you a lot of them don't. Like they sign a legal document and they're like, "Who got married?" And no recollection whatsoever. And I think that's going to be us. There's going to be a dude sweeping up the temple who goes, "Oh yeah." And I know what you're picturing. Just a white guy sweeping up the temple. Just a guy from Scandinavia sweeping up. So that's what I'm doing this Saturday. And that's people get stressed out about getting married. That's reasonably stressful. That is the least of my worries right now. My wedding today is going to be a fucking vacation. I'm excited for it because we're going to get married in the morning. It's going to take 20 minutes. It's going to be over before that lovely guy sweeping up the temple is even done with his job. Over. I'm inviting Kelvin, the guy who thinks that he's about to date a bunch of porn stars, I asked him if he would shoot photography, and based on how late he is for most things, he will never show up. So we're just going to ask, we're going to hand someone my iPhone. They're going to take photos. We're going to drive up the coast, and I already got a hotel room in Central California, and that's how we're celebrating. We're going to be staying at a motel in Central California that I can't afford unless certain horses run this week. And that's how we're celebrating. That's going to be a fucking delight. Otherwise, I've been backlogging episodes of this podcast because I'm moving. We have an opportunity to go stay for free somewhere in New York for 2 months, and we're thinking we're going to move afterwards. We're packing up all of our stuff. We're ending our lease. We're going across the country. And because we're doing that, I'm trying to record as many of these as humanly possible so that I don't have to worry about it for a little while. I'm doing like 3. I did 3 yesterday. I'm doing 2 today. I'm doing as many as I fucking can. I'm asking porn stars, fucking guys who are mad at Kim Kardashian. I've been helping out with that too. I don't know if you've seen that. Go to my Instagram. I did some man on the street stuff with this guy who's suing Kim Kardashian. That's stressful. Doing multiple of these a day in a guy's apartment whose camera and lights I'm using. It's very generous of him. Who's never here. He's not here right now. Yesterday I showed up at we were supposed to do 1 p.m. I'm texting him, calling him. He's not answering. Turns out he got knocked out last night. He's just laying in bed. I called him and he said, please text me. I'm like, could you just come get me, man? That's whose place I'm using. That's whose apartment I'm in right now. And I'm trying to schedule with this guy who's 90 minutes late at a baseline. I've been saying it on this podcast forever. I lie to him and say the podcast is at 3 a.m. just so we can do a 9 a.m. He goes, and nothing phases him. He'll go, oh, okay, 3 a.m. He's fast asleep. There's no preparation. Time is a construct to him, which, hey, that's very cool. How Zen Buddhist of you. I need to get this fucking done. I'm moving. And also, most importantly, my wife is pregnant. My wife on Saturday. That's what I should have been calling her. The whole, people say fiance. My wife on Saturday. That's funny. Because I hate saying fiance. You should just say my wife on whatever date it is. My wife on the 15th. Hey, me and my wife on April 15th have been talking, That's cool. That's a good way to address someone. Girlfriend sounds stupid. Fiance sounds stupid. I think wife sounds fine. And my wife on Saturday sounds better than any of it. I might just say that forever. Just pretend we're getting married every Saturday. She's fully pregnant. And not on purpose. She did... I did it as a bit on stage for a while. She did give me an ultimatum. She did say, I'm 34. We have 2 years to get this done. But I was kind of like, yeah, but we're not going to. That's crazy, My attitude was like, oh, yeah, 2 years? Okay. We can't have a kid. We can't handle that. We live in a 400 square foot apartment. We use an easy bake oven to make potatoes. Do you realize that? We're not ready for a kid. It's a toaster oven, but it's basically an easy bake oven. We have a cooktop. We can't have a kid. You can't have a kid in a cooktop. We don't have a real kitchen. To have a kid, you should have to have a kitchen. At the moment, our kid's nursery is going to be the fucking bathtub, but we got nothing. But she's, I came in her, I'm going to say 15%. And actually, the real truth is, I accidentally left a little bit of jizz in her one time, which again is what people should say instead of pregnancy. My wife's pregnant. No, you accidentally left, you forgot your jizz in your wife. I misplaced some jizz in my wife, and now she's having a child. I barely came in her. Barely. I've been pulling out of this woman for 3+ years. The amount of cum that I left in there was negligible. It was like condensation cum. It's a kind of spill. Like you're drinking something, you're at the dinner table, you spill. It's a spill where you'd be like, I'm not going to clean that right now. that was the amount of cum that I left in there. A spill that'll almost clean itself. And she's pregnant. Which is, I guess that says good things about my jizz. It's powerful, but ironically, I wish that it wasn't. Because I don't, it's a lot of pressure. And the truth is, a few weeks after we said, hey, let's try. Fine. She was like, why don't you come inside of me? Why not, like, just for fun, let's try it. I did it once. And then days later, we found out that she was pregnant. And the one time I did it, I was like, this is wild. Like, are we really trying this? But as I was doing it, I was like, I'm probably sterile. Like, I've had my phone next to my penis for years. Like, it's probably not like good, effective ejaculate. Turns out it's insanely effective. Like I said, it's like this much that I left in there. And it's pretty daunting. Like, the baby's due in November. We are moving. We're gonna have the baby in a different state, in a city. I mean, if it's in New York, it's like a densely populated city that, like, honestly, I've heard a lot of people, especially in Los Angeles. And today we're working on alternate phrases for things. What do you say when instead of saying people in Los Angeles? Pussies. I've heard a lot of those pussies say, and not people in East LA, not people in Compton, not people from Hawthorne. I'm talking about people in Hollywood who moved here for the movie industry, or to be part of film or whatever. Entertainment people, pussies. I've heard a lot of them say, I tried to live in New York and I just couldn't handle it. I moved there. I lived there for 3 months and then I moved back. I couldn't take. It was like, yeah, but you're a little bitch. You can't handle anything. Of course you can't handle it. You need it to be perfectly sunny every day. You had seasonal depression this year because it rained 4 times. Like, you can't handle. That's the least of my concern. But my point is, it's a city that people without children, without spouses, without people they're marrying on Saturday can't handle. And I'm bringing a kid who has a butt. My kid has a butt already. I learned that. That's Christina goes, yeah, they told me when I went into the office. She got that tested. I'll tell you about that in a second. But when she was at the nursing facility where they tested her, they told her that the kid has a butt and hands. Which is pretty funny. Maybe I might be misremembering that, but what I remember is that my kid is literally just a butt with hands. Think about your butt and then think about your hands. That's all that my kid is right now. And the way she said it, I was like, she was like, yeah, our kid, I think what she actually said was that our kid has budding hands and a butt, I think. I'm not quite sure, but what I heard was that our kid has butt hands. That I thought it was like, how any sort of organism develops over time. I thought it would start with a butt and then butt hands on the butt, and then eventually the hands would grow arms and then be part of the torso. It turns out that I think things are just budding. I'm not even sure if our kid has a butt, but I really like that, so I'm gonna stick with it that our kid has butt hands right now. We went over to the Christina's on Medi-Cal. I'm on the Joe Biden Bronze Plan, Kaiser, but we used her Medi-Cal and we went to a facility in in an area that a lot of you have heard about on rap songs. You guys listen to NWA? If you guys are fans of Ice Cube or Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre, you know who checked my wife's pussy at the Medi-Cal facility? I think his name was Dr. Dre. We went to a facility very close to South Central Compton area, and huge surprise to the world, I bet, we were the only white people who have ever visited. Literally, I mean, LA is like densely, Hispanic. Literally every person in there was a Hispanic woman without a guy. There's no guys, except for there was this one guy with a Hispanic guy I'm sure he was waiting for someone. I'm sure, but I didn't see her. One Hispanic guy with a mask on, who was just kind of looking up and looking around and then looking down and looking up and looking around. I'm just like, does this guy have a Medi-Cal pregnancy fetish? where he gets off on watching little Mexican women get tested for pregnancy. You know why I knew it was a Medi-Cal facility? It was not all Mexican women. It was a variety of women. I mean, there's mostly Mexican. But it was a lot of women wearing what are those like pajama suits called? Like a onesie that you step into. Do you remember what those are? It was a lot of women wearing full blown pajamas. First of all, 9 a.m, like you should be dressed. They're just like wearing pajamas with hoods. They look like Teletubbies. These women wearing pajama suits with hoods on to get to see if they have a baby. I'm just like, get your fucking life. I don't know any. I'm not doing great. I'm not. My eye is not on the ball. I could be doing better as a human being. I'm not wearing a fucking pajama suit all day long. These people they're setting a low bar for themselves, and they're like, oh, I'm pregnant. All right, I guess I'll go home and do what I was going to do anyways, nap. But it was very nice. My wife on Saturday had everything checked out down there, and I think she peed in a cup. I don't really know how they check. I'm not sure what she did. I watched Ryan Seacrest and Kelly. I think that's who his co-host is. They're all the same person. They were all in a soap opera once, and then they did radio, and the combination of pills that they're on makes them very unhinged, and people think it's funny. They're constantly watching that show. Whoever Ryan Seacrest's co-host is on his morning show is constantly going on side tangents that make no sense. She's like, yeah, and I'm trying to sleep, and then my husband is fucking farting, and I'm like, what? That's what these morning shows are like. They're doing like really bad stand-up. You know what I'm doing right now? It's like that. It's kind of like that. I could easily host a morning show like this, and say my wife's pussy, and they would just bleep it. I'd be fine doing that, and I would love to do it. That would pay a lot of money. That would be great, and I'd offend a lot of housewives and probably get fired very quickly. But I would love to do it. If I was like a little blonde lady, I could do it because you can say a lot more probably. But so that's where we're at. I'm about to have a kid. We think it's going to be a girl, based on her butt hands. We think it's a lady. We're gonna name her Scarlet. I'm gonna release that here. Her name's gonna be Scarlet Joe Herwitz. That's the plan. That's the name I thought of, and I like the name Scarlet. You don't want a vowel before Herwitz. Like Savannah Herwitz. It all blends together. Savannah Herwitz. Like vowels into H's are no good. You want hard consonants. A T is fantastic. An R would be great. And it's all very exciting and extremely stressful, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm very motivated to earn a living for my family. The problem is, I've never been good at that. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna work, but I do feel motivated. I really do, and that's a good thing. And I'm very excited for both me and my wife and her family. Her family loves my parents. Don't have any other children. They don't have any grandkids. They're very excited. But more importantly, my mom and my parents are so Jewish. When by excited, what I mean is worried. Yeah, my parents are over the moon Jewish, which means over the moon worried. I was just telling my mom that we were gonna I was like, yeah, we'll go up the coast to celebrate the wedding and stay at a nice place, and maybe we'll get in the water, go surfing. And she was like, I don't think so. I'm just like, Mom, I'll call you later. Okay. Okay. I can't handle this right now. You freaking out about everything. My parents live up north in San Francisco. I'm very excited to be going across the country because although there probably is no city in America more riddled with Jewish anxiety than New York City. Probably. It's like 10% Jewish, that's like 8 times the world population of Jews per capita. It's like Israel, New York, kind of, in the density of Jewish people. At least I won't have my parents there who are just worried about everything. Very, very consistently worried. But Christina's parents are very excited about all of it. And we actually, we were on the phone with them yesterday on Easter, a holiday that they celebrate as Christians. It felt really weird telling them, first of all, that Christina had told them that she was pregnant, but they are still processing. They'd known for a week. We mentioned that we were getting married yesterday. Christina told them yesterday. I don't know why. She decided to tell her parents that she's getting married 1 week before it happened, but they already knew she was knocked up. Maybe it's all right. But we have this conversation about, oh, baby's coming. We're moving. Mary. Oh my God. And then I go, sorry guys, I got to run. We've been talking for 2 minutes. I got to run and go do a podcast with a porn star. God-fearing Christian people. Oh my God, what a blessing. And I go, you know what's an even bigger blessing? I'm about to go interview a woman who just had 2 fists in her ass an hour ago. That's the real blessing. She's got views, baby. People are going to check that shit out. Scarlet Joe Herwitz, very excited. 2 fists in a butthole? Way more excited. That's it's all come full circle. I have a child with butt hands, and I've interviewed people with butt hands, with hands in their butt. And there's so much planning to do. We got to prepare so much for all the stuff I mentioned. And honestly, my wife is so much better at just being organized and preparing. You can probably tell. I wear the same shirt in a lot of these, and it's not because I film the same day. It's because I have a few shirts. I don't prepare. I have like 3 shirts. But my wife, I'm like, okay, so we got to do this. We got to sign up for that co-op that someone mentioned. We should look for housing. How about jobs? And normally she'd be on it, but now she's pregnant. So she's like, oh yeah. Immediately asleep. She's like, oh yeah, of course. Eating Shake Shack, asleep. She had this whole attitude before it happened. She's like, all these fucking women, they're always talking about pickles and ice cream. You don't need that shit. They're programmed by society. Nobody needs those food, your cravings. It's all in your head. And then within a month, she's like, could you go get me some pickles and ice cream, you stupid bitch? She's doing all of it. Absolutely all of it. And as her parents would say, it's a blessing. That's the first time I've ever said that in my life. So this is gonna be a relatively quick episode because we got other stuff going on. Like I said, I'm a busy man. We're doing a lot of prep work. I got to drive to the fucking Pacific Palisades tomorrow to drop off a marriage license. A lot of what many people would call bitch work going on. But I do want to take some questions. We're going to do a little segment that you guys have heard of, maybe, if you've watched this podcast before, called Ben Changed My Life. It's down here. Song playing. And if not, just picture one. And I'm going to get some questions from Chris, the lovely Chris. He's like my Vanna White. And I'm going to see what he comes up with this week.
So I think it'd be a good idea to do Ben Changed My Life, the Scarlet edition. Because you're moving to New York, which, is known for being a dangerous city. You're going to have a night job doing stand up, not to jinx it, but, you could get stabbed and we need to leave a message for your kid. So my idea is to do, you can come. My idea is to do like a rapid fire advice for your kid throughout all the stages in their life. So I think, little toddler Scarlet Herwitz. So my question is, how they have kids listening to like Mozart now when they're like little babies to grow? I don't know, that's supposed to help them get smarter. What kind of music do you think a baby Hurwitz needs to listen to? And what kind of like bedtime stories does little tiny Scarlet Hurwitz need to listen to?
All right. It was like a mixture of like 17 different questions. But I get it. I do get it. First of all, I'll start at square one. You said, what will, basically you said you're moving to New York City and it's likely that you'll die there. That was the first thing that you said. And you're about to have a kid. So when you're stabbed and murdered in the subway in New York City, that is what everybody thinks. Everyone's like, oh, don't take the subway, you'll get murdered. I'm like, that's the only way to get around. Is it better to walk? Can I not get stabbed while I'm walking? Yeah, people are like, people think I'm going to get murdered. You do. And New York's a dangerous place. So when things go awry, what advice do I have for my daughter who's going to grow up fatherless in New York City?
Well, I'll ask different questions for different stages.
Okay, that's the first question.
Yeah.
First, okay. So my advice is this is her as a toddler. My advice is like, well, first of all, you're a toddler. I highly doubt you're able to process advice. But if you are, just keep your head down, keep working hard. It'll happen for you eventually. Just put on that hard hat and go to work, Scarlet. That's what you got to do. Yeah, I mean, advice for giving advice to a toddler is like giving advice to a dog. Here's what you should do, and the dog's just like staring at you, smiling. They have no idea what you said, why you said it, any of that stuff. I mean, I want Scarlett to be as happy as possible. She's going to grow up in a confined space, in a city that feels like a confined space to begin with. I just hope that she, her mom meditates a lot. I meditate a bit. I hope that she has some peace, or that she's able to find it, and then she's not like, I wish I grew up in New York City, but in some ways I'm grateful that I didn't, because there are people who grew up in cities like that who are just like frenetic lunatics, doing coke and chain smoking and fucking stabbing me in the subway. There's some benefits to growing up in like a rural area. I have no interest in raising her, or anyone for that matter, in a suburb. Who cares? Suburb, like, you're just gonna be a piece of shit if you grow up in the suburbs. Rural or in a city, and we're choosing the most dense city in America. I think she's gonna know how to speak a couple languages, and order a slice of pizza, not piss anybody off, defend herself by the time she's 4.5 years old. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I hope. I hope that you have the skill set of a Marvel superhero by the time you're 4, because you're growing up in a city where you gotta have your head on a swivel. I think that's good in a lot of ways. And you'll hang out with with diverse people of different nationalities and races and backgrounds, and she'll probably change her gender 17 times by the time she's a woman. But by the time she like most people realizes she's a woman, just a regular old woman. Yeah, I mean, my advice is there's no advice. Just I hope that I can create an environment that allows you to enjoy yourself as much as possible, learn as much as possible. Really all that meant, like, my wife's going to teach her a bunch of stuff. History. Her dad was a history teacher. I'm not teaching you shit. I just want you to have a good time and learn how to be responsible. That's all that matters. Learn how to actually enjoy the world, because I get caught up in nonsense and anxiety and feuds with my enemies, you know, and it's a waste of time. Just the world is a lovely place. Actually, this is not, a nice. This is what I would actually like to. If she could process this as a toddler, this is what I would tell her. There's a great, like, vaguely spiritual guy who I don't need to. His name's Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if you're into Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, Scarlet, are you reading Eckhart Tolle yet? And if we're going to play her music, we just play her Eckhart Tolle tapes. The music stuff is bullshit, first of all. They've disproven the Mozart study. It does not make kids smart. I mean, play her good music. I don't even like music that much. I'll just play her, like, Mark Maron podcasts, you know? Like, whatever she wants to listen to, but, like, you know, play it all. Jazz, rock and roll. See what she likes. See if she's dancing. Little kids dance and stuff. I'll put up with that. But also, if she wants to listen to Bad Friends, we can do that too. Or Joe Rogan. If she's really into eating elk meat and hunting at 4 years old, we could get into that. That's fine. Yeah, she's like, Dad, I think they should legalize marijuana at 4 years old. Why isn't it legal everywhere? We were talking about music. What was the thing I was about to say? I don't even know. What was the other part of your question? I'm lost. I did. I answered a lot of it. I did. Oh, Eckhart Tolle. So Eckhart Tolle said that he got a detailed email from this woman who said, I'm going to a spiritual retreat, and here are all the classes here's all, like, the meetings I can go to. It's like this kind of thing. We can go in the water and meditate, or we can go on this hill and meditate. And then there's a talk about mindfulness, and then there's a talk about dealing with stress and awaken, whatever the fuck people like this are into, all that stuff. Any sort of spiritual hyperbole bullshit that you can think of, all that stuff. And Eckhart Tolle goes, that all sounds great. Those classes sound amazing. But have you ever just breathed before? Have you ever taken 3 deep breaths and actually just thought about breathing while you took the breaths? And then he didn't say how the woman responded, but my guess is that her head exploded afterwards. My point is, like, what I hope I can teach you even as a 4-year-old is, like, take a breath. Look up at the sky. How cool is that? Look at the stars, which you can't see in New York where we're moving. Isn't that tree cool? Look, just kind of like the jungle gym you're on. Wow, isn't this fun? The slide. Oh my God, I just shit my pants. My dad's gonna clean it out of my vagina. All that stuff. Just like appreciate the world and what you're interacting with in the world. You got another one?
That was actually pretty amazing. I think there was a lot of, like, really solid advice. I would suggest maybe not being as angry when you tell her, because either she's gonna be the most well-adjusted 4-year-old prepared for life ever, or just permanently scared of you. Just yelling at her at 2 years old. Look at the stars. Okay. Okay. So let's now get a little bit more specific. Scarlet's, 8 years old, second grade. And she's dealing with her first ever bully. It's not making her feel good. This is the first time she's ever experienced something like that. How do you help her navigate dealing with a bully to help her also prepare for life?
Fuck, that's tough. I mean, luckily she's been listening to Joe Rogan for years at this point. So she knows how to do jujitsu. She has a gun. She'll be physically prepared to fight her bully. I mean, I do think that, like, I used to, and still might be doing more because I got to fucking pay, I got to buy diapers now. Might be doing personal training at some point. I have a background doing, like, physical stuff for sure. And and actually studying psychology. So it's a mixture. I mean, I don't have a horrible background to prepare someone for this. I think, well, and also you've watched episodes of this. Don't ask me anything. I don't know. I really literally know the answer to nothing. Being physically prepared will help everything. So I'm raising my daughter to be a butch lesbian. A big B. We're gonna give her testosterone at 3 years old. I would want to put her in jujitsu if we could, or karate, or fucking gymnastics and that kind of stuff as a really young kid. So at the very least, say she's good at gymnastics, her bully lunges at her, forward roll. She like being physically prepared is very, very helpful. I do know that girls are catty. Girls are not like punching the way that boys do necessarily. How do you deal with it emotionally? Just fucking be cool. Don't be a loser. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like if you're cool, they won't bully you, you know? If they start bullying you, if they start going like, "Oh, look at Scarlet. Maybe she'll have a huge head because I have a huge head. Look at Scarlet's huge head." Then what you do is you turn your back to yourself and you join them and you go, "Yeah, look at her huge head. She sucks. Get on their team, Scarlet. Help yourself out." Don't be the butt of the joke. You can't. And I mean, we're pretty verbal, you know. Like obviously, I have the ability to speak, and so does my wife. I think Scarlet will hopefully be able to talk back to these people. So they talk shit to her. She's fucking got him in a rear naked chokehold, and she's talking shit. Look at your fucking, and this is going to be in the year 2028 or 2030. Look at your reverse purple mohawk and a tattoo of a vagina over your eyelids. You look like an idiot. And we're not letting her I'm not letting her. You know how she's going to avoid bullying? She's never going to be on her phone until she's 16 years old. I don't know how I'm going to pull that off, but that's my dream. Cyberbullying is the worst bullying. I want her on as few screens as humanly fucking possible until she's an adult. And then she'll have a serious problem with screens because we won't have let her use screens at all her entire life. I think that'll help a lot. Mitigating iPhone use, iPad use, computer use, mitigating, like we'll watch some good TV, hopefully, or whatever the fucking Dora the Explorer bullshit she's into. That's fine too. If it's like kind of educational, so be it. If it's like the dumbest show ever, but they alternate between Spanish and English, it's okay. You can learn something. That'll help. Go see a movie in the theaters. You know, I don't want her on just flipping through her phone. That's not good. You watch 8th Grade, the movie. If that was my kid, I would kill myself. Have you seen that movie? Bo Burnham's movie? It's great. It's about a girl who's like a phone addict, and she's just a loser. She just sucks. It's very sad. It's like really hard to watch, and it perfectly represents like the anxiety of a 13-year-old. It's really hard to watch. And again, if that's my kid, I don't know what I'm gonna do. We're turning on Joe Rogan. We're taking kratom. We're going to jiu-jitsu class. We're getting her as physically confident as possible. Is there one more?
I got a couple more. Okay, we're up for it. Good, yeah, let's do it. Okay, so now let's do another flash forward. Scarlett's in high school now. She's interested in dating. How do you navigate? How do you navigate helping her find, the right person to date? What's your advice to that? And should she even find the right person? Should she, make that mistake early on so she knows what not to look for in the future? What's your dating advice for her? High school Scarlet.
Well, first of all, I just hope she's dating a man. Dating advice is simple. It's like, you know what? You want my real dating advice? Don't tell me anything. I can't help you with that. Maybe your mom can help you. Maybe. You're not going to come to me with dating advice. I don't like. I'm open. I understand. Like that's part of growing up is dating, and I hope dating hasn't evolved too much for children. When I was 11, you maybe hold hands, you kiss, and that's like really exciting. As long as that's all you're doing, Scarlet, as long as you're not doing what the women who I have on this podcast do, multiple hands in their butts, that's good. It's part of the maturation process is like, going for a walk with someone of the opposite sex or the same, whatever you're into. And then you kiss them, and you're nervous, and you meet their parents, and you're like, oh, you freak out. That's good. My dating advice is, again, it's the same as anything. Just try to enjoy it. Try not to get anxious about I hope the date goes well. Fuck the date. You're 11. Who cares? Even if you're 16, it's like you're not going to marry this person. You're growing up in New York City, ideally. Maybe who knows where you'll end up. But if you're in New York City, you're not going to marry this fucking person. We're not in Iowa. You're not. Your high school sweetheart's going to die in a car accident. Like it's not going to be long term. Just try to enjoy it. Try to have fun. Date someone who respects you. Hopefully, we've raised you to respect yourself, so you're not like seeking out dudes who spit in your eyes and stuff. Yeah, hopefully that's not what you're into. And if it is, never tell me. Yeah, here's my advice. This is probably for later on, like 30s, 40s. If you're into something weird, don't tell me. If you're into, like, I had a girl once. I'll tell you this when you're older. If you're interested, you won't be. But I had a girl once tell me that she wanted me to punch her in the back of the head during sex. If that's what you're into, first of all, don't be into that. And secondly, don't tell me if you are, because I don't want to hear it. That's not a good idea. Have some self-respect. Your wife, or my wife, if you have a wife, that's fine. But my wife respects herself. She has healthy boundaries. She knows what she's into. Pretty much every woman who I dated before her hated themselves. That's not a good way to be. The reason I'm not with them anymore is because they're out of their minds. And hopefully you're not. That's just what I hope. And you won't have Down syndrome because Christina's 34.
All right, I got one more. So let's just go. Scarlett's out of the house for the first time ever. She's following her dreams. You're someone who I really respect for having integrity when you follow your dreams, and just kind of like sticking to it and doing things the right way. What kind of advice can you give her when she might have a difficult path to follow her dreams, and holding on to the integrity that just like you have? What's your advice for that?
Learn how to do digital marketing. There's if you're gonna pursue something that's really hard, that's like not likely to pan out, which is what I'm doing currently. Something that's very, very difficult. The odds are against me. I have only lost money doing it so far. If you're pursuing something like that, whatever you want to do. I mean, you're growing up in New York City. Maybe maybe you're interested in pursuing visual art. A lot of people do that and fucking ruin their lives. Learn how to do something that you can make kind of passive income with. Well, because I didn't do that very well. Hopefully I can find something a little better to help, again, get toilet paper to wipe your ass with. Learn how to do. I don't know what people are going to be doing in 2040, 2050, but like, if you know how to program robots that do things for people, that'll be good money. Like, you got to have a fallback job that is, you don't have to devote a ton of time to and pays a lot. And I know people who do stuff like that. Search engine optimization is a great one right now. I don't know how to do it. My friends do, and they make a lot of money, and they don't spend that much time doing it. I have a friend who plays golf all day long every day, makes 10 grand a month. Do that. Do something like that. That'll help you a lot. And both of her parents have illogical, silly dreams. We live in Hollywood currently. We do entertainment stuff. I have a feeling she'll, work on the Wolf of Wall Street. She'll be throwing midgets. She'll work on Wall Street and be very practical. That's my guess. I don't think she's going to be an artist, but who knows? And if you are, plan ahead financially, because I am burning the financial bridges right now. I got nothing for you. Not at the moment, at least. Anything else? One more? Yeah, I thank you for tuning in. This is an exciting time. It's a stressful time. Please Venmo me. Check out. I just posted a few things about the guy who's suing Kim Kardashian because Kim Kardashian stole his app ideas. It's kind of interesting content. His name's David Liebenson. Check him out. Check out my Instagram, Ben Herwitz Comedian. TikTok, if you're into that, if you're Chinese, and check out these other episodes that are coming out. We got some good guests. All right, guys. Thank you.